Hey guys, welcome back to the Vid-Bits. I'm Brian, and you're hanging out with me in the early shift of your Memorial Day for some Pac-Man Megatunnel Battle Chomp Champs. Alright. As you can see, we stopped 7 wins away from 1,400. We'll be the first people to hit 1,400 wins. I believe so. I'm not going to look. That way I can continue the mystique. I think the last time we did the global leaderboards. So this time we will do the United States leaderboards. Pardon me. My alarm did not go off, so they really could have passed me when I was sleeping. I'm not sure. United States leaderboards. And scroll down. Alright, give me moments to get my composure, and we will go through the top 20 people in the United States Eastern leaderboard. Again, hopefully you're having a good Memorial Day, and we're about to get started, so just give me one moment. Your top 20 Chomp Champs of the United States Eastern Division. Number 20, Zero Stratus, with a win-loss record of 233-2, with a rating of 16,668. Number 19, Sears Days, a new name, a flawless 253-0, with a rating of 16,775. Number 18, Trap Cat Malay, with a win-loss record of 304-5 and a rating of 18,459. Number 17, Toy Hunter, with a win-loss record of 299-3 and a rating of 19,372. Number 16, Gamer Bull, with a win-loss of 279-5 and a rating of 19,765. Number 15, Insanity Drew, with a win-loss record of 279-1 and a rating of 20,492. Number 14, Daddy Mark, with a win-loss of 288-4 and a rating of 20,493. Number 13, Guardian Fan Such, with a win-loss of 279-1 and a rating of 20,665. Number 12, P-Man 454, with a win-loss of 298-1 and a rating of 21,381. Number 11, True Carnage, just edging out the top 10, with a win-loss of 327-1 and a rating of 23,808. Number 10, David Dow 00 with a win-loss record of 333-0 and a rating of 24,611. That is the bottom of your top 10. Number 9, Try Again with a win-loss record of 398-6 and a rating of 25,657. They are rapidly rising. Just missing out on the splash screen, number 8, Niello with a win-loss of 385-1 and a rating of 27,239. Now your top 7 are splash page for the U.S. Eastern Division of Pac-Man Megatunnel Battle Chomp Champs. Number 7, Space, with a flawless 383-0 and a rating of 27,754. Number 6, Gamer 2012, with a win-loss of 422-5 and a rating of 27,853. Your top 5 Chomp Champs of the U.S. Eastern Division. Number 5, Shiba Inu, with a win-loss record of 539-11 and a rating of 33,341. Number 4, Mothership, with a win-loss record of 488-2 and a rating of 33,797. The top 3 Chomp Champs of the U.S. Eastern Local Division. Number 3, Shanimal, with a 503-2 and 34,571 record. They are only the 4th person to hit the 500 or higher point metric in the U.S. Eastern Division. Number 2, the former U.S. Eastern Division champion, Kofi YT, with a flawless 829-0 and a rating of 61,686. In your reigning and defending Chomp Champ of the U.S. Eastern Division, the Vid-Bits, with a win-loss record of 1,393 and a rating of 100,636. We are the first to hit the 900 and higher point metrics: 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 1,300, and now almost 1,400 in the U.S. division. We have ran away with it. It is impossible for somebody to catch up statistically. If you are David Dow 00, Try Again, or Niello, you just missed out on the splash screen. And these were your top 10 Chomp Champs of the U.S. Eastern Division. We will be right back to start the session. And then we will see how far ahead the pig is caught up. You can do the math. Be right back. Alright guys, I hope that you're enjoying your morning coffee or tea or whatever. Obviously my voice sounds a little different because it's the morning time. I'm not having that little raspiness that we have in the morning come out yet. I'm sure it'll get there. Just don't mind me, it'll be fine. Oh yeah, we're gonna do the math. You do the math. Yes, we're gonna do the math. One moment, let me clear my throat. Alright, now again, on the road to a champion, I share all the tech. We try our best to be anti-gatekeepers here when it makes the most sense. So, we're going to do the math, and I know that I'm going to do it, and it's going to sound a little bit quick, and I'm not trying to break your brain, I'm just trying to help you with the game. So we take our 100,636, only the first to break 100,000 guys. And we're going to take that. Oh yeah, that's the cherry rating, by the way. 100,000 is the cherry rating. 300,000 is the next metric we're going for. So, in case you're playing along at home, that also the title is was to 1 million dots, and now it's more marching towards, because that's what we're doing. We need. I'll show you that metric too. We need 1 million dots to get this achievement. I don't think anybody else has got, so we're going for that too. And it's something that would be unlocked probably after probably a more manageable time. We'll say that. We're never going to say unhealthy. Sometimes it's healthy to get your goals. Sometimes it's unmanageable. Sometimes it's unattainable. So just make sure you quantify that correctly. Again, I got to clear my throat. One moment. Alright. So we have the 100,636 that we have, and we will subtract our rivals 98,000. So if you're doing this at home, it's whoever your rival is. If you're just looking to see who you're trying to close the gap, and then you're also going to do whoever's behind you to let you know how long you have before somebody is chasing you. So at any time you can have an active timer and let you know how far you are ahead of me if you're chasing me, or whoever is ahead of you. That's the game. I have a timer on my phone all the time. It's actively running and letting me know how long I can sleep, how long I can eat, how long I can live my life outside of trying to be the best in the world at this game. That's also when I say I'm training to be a champion. I'm also trying to be healthy with all of my social contracts, and guys, it's difficult. So maybe it's an allegory for just being a champion, and when you're trying to be a champion, you need to respect everybody, not just the people that have paved the way on the road that you've beaten and what you're competing against, but also all of the team that allows you to be the person. Because when I say the Vid-Bits are number one, everybody around me is lifting me up. Somebody sent me $100 worth of groceries in the community for me and Bray because they want not just the Vid-Bits to succeed, yeah, they want me to succeed because they love Pac-Man. This person loves Pac-Man, and they're just like, they want to support the guy, and then they know I'm the one actuating the guy, and they know the Vid-Bits are the team supporting it. So when you have the team lifting you up, when we say the wave lifts them up, realize that if somebody in your wave starts to go down a little bit, you're still trying to rise and they're trying to help you there, but just realize what your role is on watching them drop and just fucking lift them back up. And if that means meditating on what you did wrong, if that means on knowing that you have to look differently, every lesson is fucking valuable, and the only ones that are non-valuable is the ones that make you doubt yourself so much that you don't assume your role in whatever the fuck it is to change, so there's no accountability. So that's stagnation. Or the ones that when they hit so hard you just stop doing whatever you're doing, because you shouldn't stop. If somebody fucking offends you so much because they put the truth out of how you're acting to them in front of you, and you don't analyze how you can change your behavior, you're never going to learn and grow as a team, as an individual, as a community. So when I say the road to a champion, and I make all the funny taglines and I take it too seriously, it's because a whole team believes in me. They prop me up. But at the end of the day, I have to actuate, and I also have to make sure that I don't fuck over my own team on the way up to the top, because I want us to be here together, but I don't want anybody to fall on the way. So I love the team that is the Vid-Bits. It is me, Bray, and the Chief, but it is now so many more people behind the scenes that do not get the credit as being me and Bray and the Chief. So this is to you, all of you, and I will try to take this responsibility more seriously, because Braden is amazing on his own, and I am amazing on my own, but together we are so much more than the sum of the parts. So I hope that you know that going forward, if there seem any, like, there's long pauses and stuff, there's just a lot going on at the office here right now. So just want to let you know that we love you and we appreciate all of your support. And again, it's important for me when you're watching Chomp Champs to know that this is like a tech show, okay? This is like an end of the day recap show, a beginning of the day recap show. It's also being used to kind of shamelessly, when it makes sense, plug all the other projects we have going on, almost like Sports Center had, like, it would talk about all the other programs that were on ESPN. That's kind of what I'm going to use this for, do 2 different times a day. But then I'm going to play 18 holes of golf, so to speak, 18 rounds. So these sessions will be, when they get regulated on the Vid-Bits channel, it'll be about an hour and a half to 2 hours and 22 minutes will be the longest they'll be. There'll be 2 of those. But if you want to see me chomp in crazy increments, you'll go to the Pops Plays channel for when I'm doing crazy stuff. When I say crazy stuff, that's any of the stream rarities. That's Excellent, which is 3 to 5, Epic, which is 8, Legendary, which is max, or over Legendary, which is more than 12 hours. So that all the way up to 24th Mythic, but only if my rivals are chasing me to keep everything in check. But I'm letting Mint chase me through a little bit right now, because it's Memorial Day and it makes it more fun. When it gets a little bit through Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to just blow it out of the water, guys, and then we'll be able to push ourselves towards all these other goals I haven't talked about, like the first one being the one I have talked about, which is 300,000 ratings. So again, going back in a secular way to, like, tie it all together, hurt, heals, make sure that you do them in equal quantity, and then at the end of the day you look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable for what you've done, because if you don't, then why the fuck did you just have that argument? Why the hell did things just happen? Or why did you just, like, why did you not before nip it in the bud, whatever caused the person to not resonate with you correctly? Sometimes that's what it is. Like, I like to think sometimes if everything else in your life is going right and something's going wrong, it's just the balance. It's like, no, maybe it's just the way of the rest of it just kind of working itself out, and if we don't learn the lesson right there, maximum right now, pow boom, then we're fucking ourselves over, and we're you know, keeping a foundation being strained, and you don't want that. So again, the lesson here is, if you're in a team, even if you're the person that's propped up, like Jordan, he was part of a team, and I'm sure so many times he thought, oh my god, I am the one that's doing all the cool shit, and maybe he did think that he was fucking godly, but it was a whole team that propped him up to get him there. Like any other allegory for that you could think of. If I'm the Jordan right now of Pac-Man for the Vid-Bits, like, Braden is just as much like the Pippin or like the Larry Bird of it for something, for Dark Souls or something else. So please don't look at it as my accomplishment is like more mighty than the sum of the team, and I've had to wrangle it in because it's getting crazy out here, because I'll be honest, it looks like, you know, we're playing games here with the whole fucking world in Pac-Man. Like, who gets on top of the world and then starts playing games and trying to produce some drama? I mean, it's starting to get dramatic up here for some reason, and then the view is supposed to not change according to Mitchell. But it's definitely changing, because I do keep looking back, because I'm trying to be respectful. So, again, just to start the morning off and try to get that energy out on Memorial Day, so, like, know the people that are supporting you are just as much of the fucking problem, are part of it, as the story, as you. And I've known that, but I really had to know what that meant. So me saying that this is for the Vid-Bits, and me knowing why and how and for why it's for the Vid-Bits, is so fucking important. I hope that America enjoys their Memorial Day, and know that I've worked hard to keep us on top of America. If you care about it for that reason, I think that patriotism should be more of a symbolic of unity and togetherness and the belief that you can do anything. And I think that that's what the Vid-Bits really are at their core. So we're about to crest 1,400 legendary wins for the first time, and it'll be on Memorial Day. And I hope to hit many more metrics on some of the ways to, at the end of the first season in my brain, Pac-Man's 44th to 45th birthday. So let's do the math. You do the math. Yes, we're doing the math. So the 636 that resembles our rating, or I like to call score or points, because this is like the big points. Like the one on the far right, if you were looking at this as an arcade game, that's the fucking score, guys. Nobody's saying it. So on the far right, the rating, I want to call those points, because really, it doesn't matter what your win-loss record is. That's a separate score bracket to make people feel good about themselves. We've determined that win-loss record is not only smurfable, but it's not quantifiable to what your skill is, because it is dictating your rating based on what you place. And eventually we'll get a whole table and have all that when I can slow down. Again, that's why I'm going to have to we'll call it the great push beyond or something, when I'm going to hit another metric, when I can get so far ahead of these guys that I can slow down and start to help you guys database all the different brackets and all the different levels. Because I've said it before, and it's not just a gimmick. I can't wait to see how some of those lower levels move and what those people are doing, because they're on their way up. Maybe they're getting Pac-Man fever, they're getting hyped, and they're ready to go. So 100,636 for the third or fourth time, minus the 98,000 of your rival, 397. Now, braggadociously, if you don't have somebody ahead of you, you don't have to do the math against who you could be min-maxing against for your daily grind. But if you do, then you look at the person in front of you. You don't look at their win-loss record, because that's a different time, and you're going to be throwing yourself off. If you do the distance in win-losses, and then you do the math, and then you look at in that table, then it's not right, unless you guys are relatively close in rating. If you're super close and you want to use that, you can. But again, the real way to get the math is to do it by the rating. So we take 100,636 minus 98,397, we get 2239. So 2239, and we're going to take the 2239, and we're going to divide it by 75, of course, because that's how many you can get if you get it perfect. It's about 30 matches. 2985. So we're going to get 0.85. So we're going to clear that. We're going to say 30 matches, and we've dictated that you can do 12 matches an hour. When we do a pack snack around here, it's 18 holes a pack. It's an hour and a half. If you min-max the whole thing and you just keep going and you get first place. That's when we say min-max. That's what that is. So a min-max pack snack is that 90 minutes if you do it perfectly. So a perfect hole of golf, if you will, a perfect round of golf. So 30 is the number that we get between the ratings of us, and that's about the average amount of matches that you can put in if you get first place. That's how you get that math. And you take 30 and you divide it by the hourly of 12, and now we are 2.5 hours ahead of our rival. So that means, minus talking, I can do whatever I want and still play Pac-Man. This is why you can have a healthy work-life relationship, work-balance relationship, and play Pac-Man. You can still work about 2 different timers. Like, you guys like to play the time wasters, where you have this much time to do this much time to do that. That's why I can go around town and fulfill all my commitments, or realize that other commitments, time actually has a limit. When I run away with number 1 so much, you guys can't catch me, because unfortunately it's gotten that far and I can start talking about it, then I can do a whole day's worth of media. I can do whatever I need for the Vid-Bits. I've been doing that anyways, but it'll be less stressful, because it's also me being able to run away with it is correlating with the end of our project, Game of Day May. So that's, again, you're not supposed to talk about it, but I may be also talking about it to make it interesting for you guys. It's beneficial for me for you guys to start replacing the NPCs in the mazes by getting Pac-Man fever and trying to shut me up. So I will continue to talk. If you're not happy about it, turn the game, turn my stuff down, watch my amazing tech, hang out with my community who's supporting us, and then you can use and learn all that, and then just like on the second screen try to chase us. I'll give you credit when you're in the leaderboards. When I have the time and you're going up all the other ones, I'll give you credit all the way up there. We'll watch you rise from bronze to the top. That's the motivation here. I'm trying to motivate you guys. The marketing let me clear my throat. Let me give the official pitch now that I've had several times and thousands of over 1,000 games to tell you Bandai Namco how we're going to heal the game that is just now getting its legs in its first month. Here we go, okay? Because I've watched a lot of Bewitched and learned how to do amazing marketing through Darren Stevens, an amazing fictional character that is not owned by us at all. So the Vid-Bits are going to make people want to have Pac-Man fever, and they are going to want to go in and infect these amazing bots that have curated names, and they're going to want to turn into the next Shanimals, the Motherships, the Kofis, because they're going to know that this guy, random dude, took over and hijacked this battle royale for his brand and for the gamer community. And the only way to shut this guy up, which why would you want to, because he's for the gamers, but if you do want to shut him up, you can pay $22 and some odd change and morph into one of these characters, turn into Mothership or Shanimal, and take over their identity, and then go through these halls while he's also heralding your journey all the way to the top and giving you recognition and props as a gamer as you continue to try to beat the Vid-Bits, who are the best Pac-Maniac in the world. Yep, that's it, guys. It's simple like that. All you have to do is get mad, get fiery, angry, and grab a controller and shut me up by raising up the game and being like, stop thinking about all the negative things about this game and what you can do, which is you can grab a controller and in 14 days be one of the people that are in the conversation. So I'm going to prove it to you in another metric, and then we'll talk about it again, and we'll revisit this. I guarantee you we'll be talking about it again after that, because this is not going to stop. I'm Johnny Appleseeding this bitch because I am Johnny Monad 777, Pops from Pops Plays, also Brian from the Vid-Bits, and it's more important for everybody to know that the Vid-Bits is about gamers and the gaming culture. So when we say that there's a mission, sometimes you don't know your role in it. Sometimes your role is to throw your arms out like, you know, you're trying to fly and then hug a Camaro. Because man, isn't the Camaro just sexy, right? There's this band called Bang Camaro, and they picked the name of their band because they thought Bang and Camaro were the most sexiest combination of two different words in the English language, and man, it is. Bang Camaro. I highly suggest you check them out. They're like an indie band, and since we're doing indie exposure on Game of Day May, shameless plug, that's all I'll say. Bang Camaro is formed by a lot of the devs at Harmonix when they were making the Rock Band games, and so when they were able to sneak in their own music, the people that formed Bang Camaro actually played some of their songs and, you know, had like one or two out of the hundreds in there, and then you could maybe purchase a little bit for some more, but they were living their dream. So we're living our dream of the Vid-Bits because you guys are supporting us, and we can see it every day. And if the full transparency is there, we got plus double digits on our subs, and we're up on that metric. So you guys are starting to talk to each other about us, which I hope that you do. And the segue for that is when you're in chat, say hi to whoever else is in there. I see a lot of you guys trying to talk to us individually, and we do talk to you individually. But as a community, you know, we want you guys to start to grow together as a community, because it's really important that that's shown that, you know, you guys are here together too, because sometimes we're focused in on a really hard game. Like Bray's about to start Elden Ring, and I don't think I would want to be like, I know as chat I wouldn't want to not say anything, but I wouldn't also want to super distract him or backseat it, because he's doing it, you know, to try to make sure that the people that aren't as knowledgeable as the people in chat are having a good time. But there will be time that he fields questions from chat, because we always like to source that over game facts or looking at somebody else's tech first, because it's a communal experience here. So with that being said, I'm going to clear my throat one more time. We'll refresh the screen and see if there's a difference in our lead, and then we will get going for this session. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I'm really just thankful, you know, that you guys are sticking around. And I think the whole thing is, if I was going to give you advice about growing your brand today, just Johnny Appleseed it. When I call myself Johnny Monad 777, it's just, I love sevens, and I love you know, the concept of Johnny Appleseed and being a wanderer, and, you know, being able to go ahead and just kind of inspire people. So, you know, go around and kind of see how other people in your community are doing today, and then see how you can kind of water your community, because there's a lot you can do in your own backyard that's not just the backyard of your house. So just kind of meditate on that. I'm going to get myself settled and listen to a tasty jam real quick, give Bray a hug because I know that he's up and active, flute the chief just a moment, and then we'll get into this session, guys. I love you, and I hope that you're having a great Memorial Day. So it's Brian from the Vid-Bits.
Alright, you know we always give the pig a chance to catch up, especially when we are also doing media and stuff on the phone. We have a business meeting that we had to have. I apologize for that, but I didn't want to start a new stream and then end this one because of it, because I only have like a Master 2 under this, and then the intro. So just so you guys know that that's where that was, and it'll happen less, but right now we're not used to getting this much media from us. I don't do a lot of phone calls, so it's a lot of texting, and I don't even do a lot of that. I do almost all my button actuation on the controller when we're playing games. So, but again, I apologize for that, and we're gonna get going. That was the sports part of it, the sportscast part of it. It's kind of let you know where we're at. But I appreciate you guys and your time. We're gonna head into a nice lengthy session here and try to continue to get the league going. But hopefully you guys in America and across the world are enjoying your Memorial Day. But we are the reigning United States Eastern Division, reigning United States in general, and global champion at Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs by our good friends at Bandai Namco, that we are not sponsored by, but publicly appealing sponsorship. And also we have submitted, so want to make sure that you know that, and then also know that we really care about all these people that are putting in the grind, and we're going to continue to be the forefront for your esports, for the leaderboards and speed run community as possible, especially when we're actively competing for it. So and then also shameless plug for something that we're looking forward to that we're not sponsored by is the Nintendo World Championships that's coming out in July. We're going to continue to get on the hype train for that. Maybe Nintendo would love to, know that we're going to do something with that, because, I mean, if we're going to use this format for that, guys, that's another stuff that you'll see on the Pops Plays channel after we get it all settled here, but we'll definitely be covering it here on the Vid-Bits channel too. So Pops Plays channel will also be when we come up with these formats where every day we're pinging and getting those leaderboards for you guys, and eventually you're going to feel like after a couple years of investing in the Vid-Bits programming, that's just the same as if you go onto the cable networks and you scroll and you see these channels and these block of times when the things perform, and we'll be able to give you a consistent idea of when these shows will be coming on for you on the Vid-Bits, and then subsequently Pops Plays and then any other channels as they make sense, of course, so that we can diversify these brands and continue to evolve what we're doing here for the gaming community, and also hopefully inspiring you guys as creators here on YouTube, because man, if we weren't, none of this would have happened if we weren't inspired by YouTube. I mean, the creators, the content, the knowledge that I've gotten from listening to them talk about gaming history to the play, so to be able to integrate into that, we are so thankful. So we're going to go ahead and now get into some games. Maybe we'll break up the monotony when we get to a fun number of wins and do some elimination, a couple elimination games, but really what we're trying to do is build Bray up some time. Right now we're trying to build him up some time to start Elden Ring, and we've built them up a bank of 2.5 hours right now. Until we get the second streaming situation set up, I'm never going to risk the Pac-Maniac Championship for the fact that Bray is going to start his conquest, because he's got to get on pace to marry up with the DLC for Elden Ring. So I'm hoping that my sub goal of getting the separate streaming setup, which I know you guys want. You've talked about wanting to see us do zombie content from both perspectives, and then also our voices would not overlay because we'd be separate parts of the lab. So I'm so excited about that. I felt like part of the magic of us has been like in a small, hut of an environment. The lab is very small but cozy, but being able to separate it out and expand it to 2.0, if you will be great, because we'll be able to do stuff like do zombies content and not have our voices overlay on everything and all that fun stuff. I know that you guys have been looking forward to that. So, and we can't say that we're going to instantly upgrade to face cams, but being able to have all of the footage for whenever we're doing multiplayer that is a singular perspective game, and then being able to have some editor marry that in together, I've been looking forward to seeing that, because as a viewer it's really fun stuff to see. So Brian from the Vid-Bits, your Chomp champion, and I hope that you're again having a wonderful Memorial Day. We're the champ of the world, guys, and we're located in America, so if you're into that whole thing, cool, but no matter where you're at, just high five somebody today and say, hey, you know, it's a great day. Hopefully it's beautiful outside where you're at, and if it's not, you know, maybe you need to be inside, cozy, reading a book, sipping some tea, just kind of like recharging the batteries. If they ever got these, I mean, I think that when pack fever hits and everybody starts getting into this game to try to chase me, these 80-second server hops will just, the min-maxing will change because they won't take that long for queue because people will just be in it faster possibly, or maybe that's just the maximum time no matter what that the pacing is going to be. But I just feel like, you know, when they're not having to seed AI for all these spots and it's actually Jimmy, Joe, Jane, John for all these people, I just feel like it's going to be a faster experience, so you may even get a little bit faster loads, but it's all speculatory until you guys decide to make that happen. And if not, we're still chomping along. We're also the #1 on the PlayStation platform, but you know, that's just because that's the one we're really happy with the joysticks on this. I'm sure I can feel like I'm as comfortable actuating this game on the for the, what is it, the Steam Deck probably, and then also the Xbox, but I would probably for the Xbox feel like, and maybe even the Steam Deck, feel like I had to get some of those control thumbstick things. I never understood what they were for, but part of the reason why I like using this controller, it's not necessarily the platform, but the controller itself has a nice little grip on the top of the joystick itself that you can kind of depress your thumb into in a way where you have a lot of control when you're doing like this kind of stuff. If your thumb would slip off the top of the joystick nub on a normal controller, you wouldn't feel confident to do that because it would just floop right off. And I've had this controller, like, I don't know, a little bit over a year, and been messing around with it and doing some DuckTales. And the reason why I'm not highly ranked on DuckTales on the PlayStation platform is because I can't use the Xbox controller. So see, I know, I always think that it's crappy when people use it as a cop-out, like what the controller affects the gameplay or whatever, but I'm here to tell you we'll eventually have a collage when we hit 1,000 videos and somebody cares to comb through them of all times that we talk about controllers affecting gameplay, but it really can. I mean, not to plug the Game of Day May episode of Mario Land 2, but if you want to watch that, you'll see that we clearly have to actually change the dynamic of how we're going through beating the game because we're not using the most optimum way to play it. We're just trying to focus on making sure that it's the best way to display it at the time because we're focused primarily on playing stuff on OG hardware, so you know, that's where we were with it, but weren't really remembering all of our options. It's fun. It's actually a fun journey of watching two people struggle to find a way to beat the game, not because they can't do it, but because they are trying to find the input method that's going to give them the least problems when they realize that that's the biggest problem they're coming over. Not like the tech of beating the level, but it's interesting. I guess it's a different way to sell it because, man, it was frustrating, and we have, you know, pretty confident feels that we were going to just go through it, but I digress. Today you'll have me doing a lengthy session of Pac-Man, and so I feel pretty good that I built a bank of time for Game of Day May. Then basically after he does his Elden Ring debut, we're going to do it early. I'm going to end off early here too so he can do his Elden Ring debut, and then I will be able to see how far the pig could have possibly caught up while I've given him the data bank or the banked time. Then we'll look at that, and then after that happens, if I have to do some catch up, there'll be a small Chomp Champs to get that caught up so I can bank us some more time so that we can do Game of Day May. So it should be exciting here. So let me recap. So I'm going to do this and get myself the lead. So far we've banked Bray 2.5 hours to play Elden Ring. If I can keep stretching the lead while the pig's not playing, I can bank Bray for maybe 5 hours of Elden Ring time and stop. Then Bray can play comfortably 3 hours or so and get a good starting session, maybe 4. And then after that, he can get off, and I can look in here and see if the pig's moved. And if he hasn't moved at all, then we can go right into an amazing episode of Game of Day May. And if not, I'll have to do a little bit of Chomp Champs. I'll have to do a little pack snack maybe, and then push ourselves up some time. And I literally will bank up the time that I can to keep the lead, and then us do the Game of Day May episode. So when I say that we create content differently here, it's stuff like that where we're creating real life stressors, but also there's also real life that's hitting in a way where that kind of creates an interesting atmosphere for you to see. And I love just experiencing it, because really we just call it life as gamers, guys, because if you're doing it right, you're having a great balance between work and life. So if your work is also gaming, but your personal life is gaming because you have a goal that's above the company in a way, like staying on top now is above the company, and I would never compromise the integrity of trying to play a game every day in the month of May, even though at one point I thought that, being on top at this pace was more important, when really I was still just going to get it at number one, so just keep your ego in check, especially again when you're working in a company, because you can see where in this case it's creating a fun narrative where I'm having to competitively bank enough time to make sure that we keep our programming block safe, and I'm also giving him enough buffer where he can comfortably end his session and not feel like, oh my god, he's gonna have to get on this game, because we don't have that pressure here, guys. We still are gonna be the champion in the Eastern Division. We're still the champion of the United States by some huge metric. So the most that could happen is we could lose the global championship, and I just didn't even want to do that on Memorial Day. So that's why we're making sure to keep a wrangle on it. I'm giving him a little bit more leeway, and then we're just going to run away with it, and then we can just worry about the sports aspect of it, and we're still just worried about this being a big enough attention getter so that we can start launching the E-League and get more attention on the channel, so that we can have so much more fun than just being to the couple people that are getting to see it. Not that we're not excited for that, because man, it's so exciting to see some people that are hanging out here and what they're doing and finding out about their personal endeavors and stuff, and it's inspiring to learn about new things about culture and stuff every day. So we thank you for that, not even just watching stuff, liking and subscribing to it, but the fact that I get to learn about people in the community, because I found a way more to approach them as less of people are always going to be NPCs in your life, when then you can see that they're not living their dreams. Those people that are living their dreams are not NPCs, because they will give you their advice to get there. And the people that are NPCs are just doing what they have to do to live their dreams, because they're always the main character at their house, in their home. They're always living their dreams in their head because they're working towards them. So you've got to live it to achieve it. But when you really get to the brass tacks of letting somebody know that you care about what their name is, and you help them let down their guard a little bit, and then they tell you about what they're passionate about, it's cool because it can be inspiring about whatever that you're, different than whatever you're passionate about. And you could man, maybe I'm going to be this thing now, maybe I'm going to try to at least tell other people about it. I've told 3 people about fire sticks swirling since I talked to this person that was doing this commerce job, and I'm excited now to actually be more up close to it and not see it just on TV.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut in. I had a similar experience this weekend. I went to a little festival with some family, and we were just talking to the people who were in charge of the balloon animals, and it's just I don't know, there's something really awesome about
I've always thought that.
There's just people who are there just to bring joy to those around them. We went up and we had asked to get balloon animals and stuff, and I don't know, there's just having that be your job just to bring kids joy. It's the same people who sell ice cream, you know what I mean?
Right.
Those people must have a great day knowing that they make those kids' day.
That is the perfect job to pull you out of semi-retirement, guys. If you're an older person, and that would be awesome to do the local ice cream man, because that person brought me so much joy in my childhood, and I couldn't even remember any of their names or faces, but I know how excited I was when I heard the jingle when the truck was coming up and stuff. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a really cool, I completely agree.
What the hell just happened?
If you have the shield, then you just bounce people around. That's why I can't wait till there's a lot more real people, because
the strategy that you could possibly pull off.
The couple people have already, and it's really, you just don't know. The cool thing is, I know what I have banked as my 2 power-ups, but they don't. So you always have to play proactively as what they could have. You could have a Dazer and you'd be boop, right before I got to the Energizer, you know what I mean?
That's why it's so strategic.
Yeah, and
it's kind of like chess. You have to prepare as if they made any and all moves.
And can you believe that the public is it's boring? It's you guys are making it boring by not trying to take the belts from us. I mean, it's cool, but
there's no competition, so it's boring.
Right?
We're trying to incentivize competition.
Absolutely.
If anything, that's the main problem right now, is this game, there's not enough competition, because everyone keeps talking shit because the other Pac-Man game got shut down.
Yep.
Stop being salty because the exclusive to Nintendo Switch, which people don't realize, like you said, Bandai Namco owns Pac-Man.
Right.
And Nintendo doesn't own Pac-Man.
Right.
So Nintendo had an exclusive platform where they were the ones that the only people who could play the Pac-Man Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So they had to either kill it or change it in order to make this game even viable on launch.
Right.
I just don't understand why people don't get that.
Like, they had lightning in a bottle in their situation with Mario 35, and they could have kept it going, and they could have made it like they could have kept it going.
Yeah, that's the only one that really like. As much as I like some of the other ones, I don't think the other ones work as well.
Tetris doesn't make me feel like
I
way.
think Tetris works because.
But it didn't make me feel that way. Like, me personally. Because
it didn't give me that special feeling.
But for somebody that feels like Tetris, like I feel about Pac-Man, I'm sure it was perfect.
Right. I agree because I like Tetris 99.
Yeah, not throwing shade. Not throwing shade at all.
But Tetris also isn't your favorite in general.
I like it more than I let on when I have the DS version because that is amazing. So when it has good quality of life improvements. I had that in my DS more than a lot of games around the time that I was playing my DS all the time because I was obsessed with just trying to see all the different NES backgrounds and all the different ways that they kind of did the Easter eggs. It was just so cool. I wish that they would be able to find a way to bring that field presenting Tetris where they use all their, like the whole WarioWare thing where they pull all the Easter eggs from all of their IPs. That's what they did with DS, and just that whole thing where they use everybody.
Well, I mean, didn't they start that trend with the original Tetris on NES?
Yeah, they did. Like, and then like the Tengen version kind of does knockoff characters, and they try to do the same thing at the end of that. But yeah, I mean, they do, and it's really cool because I don't know. I think they did a lot more of that in the Famicom because the Famicom Wars was going ahead like mashing IPs up, and right. Konami did some mashing up. But a lot of that stuff never saw the States. I don't know if they were worried that we wouldn't handle it, or because some of it had popular IPs and then catchy stuff that never came over. So
who the characters like are
half and half and stuff sometimes, yeah.
Right, where we know some of them, but it wasn't enough to be like because so many of the crossovers were pretty much Japanese exclusive, like in reference. Like, the references all only made sense to Japanese audiences. I think it probably just didn't make sense for them to dedicate the resources versus translating something that would seamlessly just work as a NES game versus a Famicom game.
Like Konami World, the first one's kind of clunky, but the second one's cooler. But like that's the whole premise is like taking everybody. It's funny, Bray, because we talked about it when you were younger, and you're like, Dad, it'd be really cool if I could play a game where all the characters from like different IPs were like doing this thing, and like people on the computer were doing it, but they really were modeling after some of these Famicom games that we didn't know about. The ID that were doing the same thing. Like, there's a couple ones that I'll cite the examples, and maybe we'll do some of that because I think that'd be really cool when we can get some stability there. But it's really interesting that, you know, like you said, like I think we honed it in. Like, it's mainly because we would know half the characters, but you wouldn't know the other half. So it'd be cool that you knew the people from Contra, and like, you know, you knew like Simon Belmont from Castlevania or whatever. But then like even Kid Dracula, like unless you played the now released from the collection, you wouldn't have known who he was from.
But that took so long.
Right.
Unless you were buying and translating Famicom games in the 90s and early 2000s, like I doubt anyone played Kid Dracula in the States until it was released via collection.
I think it came out for Game Boy, and it was the same game, but we never got the actual Nintendo one. But I think it did come out for Game Boy. That's why the Game Boy version is so expensive. It's so ridiculously expensive because we never got the NES port, so.
Ooh. Gonna real quickly grab some water.
Alright guys, if you're hanging out with the Chomp Champ, you're hanging out with Brian from the Vid-Bits here, and Braden's hanging out in the studio here too in this part of the lab, and we are ready to crest over as the first team ever to do 1400. So if anybody's in chat, you want any questions or anything that we can talk about, that's cool. If not, we're just gonna kind of just chill. And Bray, what are you thinking about as far as like the beginning of the, like if you're going up in the conquest is going up to the top of a hill, and then like you're then like now looking off in the end of the goal being the end of Elden Ring DLC. How are you feeling now that you're about to go into, after this session, into that environment and then start the second half of your conquest as we go into this leg of the journey here with the 1400th win?
I think ultimately I was playing Dark Souls 3 to make it so I didn't feel bad for playing Elden Ring. It's not like, I mean, I had people tell me that I know there's no connection. It's more so that was the last Souls-like I had sunk my teeth into and gotten nearly to the end of, or like to the end of, but also not done all the optional content, like DLC and one of the optional bosses. So I feel like I had to clear that off my, like I had to like, you know, check it off my list. I finally can move forward into playing other Souls-likes or other, you know, other games, you know, from Software. Whereas I feel like I kind of have to complete each title that I've entered in those kind of in that genre before I can move on to another one. So I feel like now I'm also very trained up and my reaction time is very honed. Whereas like there's really like a rust that you have to kind of shake off when you haven't played that kind of game in a while, because stream is disconnected. Attempting to reconnect. Oh, that was yesterday.
So is it more like you can pick as a Souls player if you're trying to, as wrestlers call it, you're shaking the ring rust off before you get back in the rings per se. So is it like your taste as to what Souls game may give you the biggest momentum going in that you pick to go into that?
Okay, so Elden Ring's engine is an improved Dark Souls 3 engine.
Aha, so that made sense why you picked that title, right?
Yeah.
Or was it also because you wanted to hit some of the tastier and difficult bosses
Well,
too?
it's also because I've heard that Nameless King in particular, as well as Sister Frida and a couple other bosses, were super difficult,
yeah,
but also super rewarding and enjoyable. And obviously some people still haven't beat those bosses, but the satisfaction that you get for beating something that's considered that difficult is just something within itself. It's nice because you can see the progression in your gameplay. You look at the start of that playlist where, you know, I'm just starting to kind of get back into it. Obviously with the Dark Souls 3 bosses, I knew some of their patterns in particular, and I could beat them sometimes on the first try, first or second try, just because I knew it. I still remembered how to deal with them, and it came back in a moment. Like, it was crazy. Like, it all came back. Like it's almost like in my head I replayed it, the hundreds of deaths in a montage where I was like, shit, damn.
Well,
And then I died over and over and over again. And then it's like, I almost like saw every part of the arena where I wasn't allowed to be. And as I was going, I remembered, well, okay, this guy moves this way and he has this moves. And I'm like, it's so satisfying. The replayability, even in subsequent playthroughs, it still is one of the most satisfying of all games, at least of the modern generation.
You're getting me hyped just by hearing you talk about it. I was just saying, as a person that loves a bicycle, it's almost like I said that analogy hundreds of times.
But
this is what I would say is a little bit more deep, right? Like, have you ever cycled through like the woods and you're not used to the path? So like you're going and you're going kind of cautiously because you're not seen that path before. But then like there's a bump in it, so you're like, oh shit. So maybe if you go through that path the next day, you know that that bump's there. I feel like that's Souls, right? Because if you go crazy on that first time you're through the path, you're gonna possibly wipe out into a fucking ditch that you don't know is there. But the next time you do it the next day,
people try to brute force the game, and you can't do that.
Like so, like the next day though, if you went full speed on that path, you're gonna know that ditch is there, and you're gonna fucking slow down and avoid it. So that's
if you have problems learning from your own mistakes,
you're
then
screwed,
it's gonna
right?
be I know people in my life that I've talked to, and they're like, oh, I hate that.
Yeah,
and
of course you do.
it's like, because like you brute force your whole life, so I don't think you'd be able to take that, what is it, due diligence, to be able to do that in a game, and to be able to actually like actuate that in a game, because you don't have that control in your life. So I can't really expect you to be able to do that in a game either. So not to say I have it all figured out or anything, but there's a reason why the beginning of that playlist is called The Game That Taught Me Patience, because I wanted the accomplishment and satisfaction that came with beating and playing this game, but at the same time I wasn't willing to, like, for a while I was just trying to brute force it, and I wasn't willing to slow down, play at my own pace, but also realize that sometimes you have to play at other people's paces, because like the AI, the enemies you fight in that game, they dictate the pace of the battle in a good way. Unlike some games where people feel like the waiting is just artificial difficulty, this is a game where you feel like because you wait, you actually are rewarded for that. Each time you wait a little bit longer, and you get a little bit farther.
The Webster definition of the word experience is a direct observation of or participation in events as a basis of knowledge.
That's a good definition.
So honestly, what Souls is when you're experiencing the role-playing game as the role that
you are actually gaining experience.
You have to gain the experience or the knowledge to be able to proceed. So really, it's also a puzzle game too, because you're figuring out, where do I go, where don't I go, how do I fit within this realm, how do I fit within this ecology, and where to proceed. So if you guys are considering why you're not playing it, like Bray said, you should look yourself in the mirror and say, do I not want to learn in the game today?
But it's not meant for some people.
It is not. Some people are meant to watch you do it. That's why it's amazing,
exactly.
because they can enjoy it and follow along, but they can't fucking do it. That's not me for Elden Ring. I know I can do Elden Ring, and I will.
But there's a chance that you can't go back to Dark Souls 1 and deal with that clunky shit.
That's just like Kingsfield. I want to play that for like the feels, because I had the feels, but I don't think I can because it is so damn hard. But if I wanted to, my gaming acumen is to be challenged, can be like, yes, this is attainable. So it's all attainable. They do not ship games anymore that are completely non-winnable. You just have to fucking want it bad enough. So Bray wants it, and he's doing really well, pacing himself, because I think we have about 30-ish days. I didn't do the math. You do the math. No, I didn't do the math, and he's gonna have plenty of time to get there. But the whole thing is he's gonna make sure he flows into it where he's not rushing at the end. And I've told them that your goal is that night, final blow, and then once the DLC is live, you're literally going right in with everybody else.
I'm just excited because it's just another one of those experiences where people around me have hyped me up about this game.
Yes.
And this is one of those games that there's not really any spoilers.
No.
I mean, someone could tell me what the end is, which I still haven't had that happen, luckily. But it's like, I feel like it's so cryptic. It's in a way where it's unspoilable. Like, I feel like you have to be in the world and observe the events and kind of passively pick up on it. Whereas, even if you were to watch a lore video, it's not really spoiling that feeling. Like,
Yeah.
it's a weird way. It's a weird thing. Like, no other game really. It feels like you could not spoil it in some.
If you're watching this from the United States, if you're wondering if we're gonna have to worry about losing that
1400.
championship,
That's
yeah.
what we just crested
Yeah,
over.
I'm not really worried about the United States Championship, but guys, it's Memorial Day, and we have Independence Day coming up, so I'd love to keep the Eastern / the entire United States on top of Pac-Man up through the 4th of July, guys. I'm going to work hard to do that. So I've finally come to grips that I am providing the helping Braden provide the menu here at the Vid-Bits. So if you are happy with how we're serving you up this gameplay, feel free to tip us. I've been not shilling, but you know what? I've been a professional server for over 15 years, worked for a corporate structure in serving, and when you work hard, I've been told that you deserve it. You deserve a tip. So if you think that you're inspired by anything that we're saying, which we're not trying to say tip us for what we're saying, but if it motivates you in some way, know that the quest is to continue to grow the brand and awareness, but also do some amazing things with Pac-Man. And I'm going to just go ahead and publicly declare on Memorial Day, I am trying to hit 1 million rating by Independence Day, by July 4th. So if you believe in that and believe that I can do that, feel free to throw a tip out there, because it's all going towards the cause. Right now, we are going to know, you know that it's going towards the Switch, but still, it's going to help move other money that then I can justify to keep this cause going. That's not going to help to close the gap with the Switch when we find out, because we have to throw that money down as soon as the pre-orders come out.
When
guys,
is
so.
the Switch 2?
That's I'm hyping it so that they fill the coffers, but so as soon as I get the dates and I find out, because I have inside information where I can pre-order it, I can cash out then, because it'll be over $100 and at least get the down part money, and then $5 split across of all the initial launch media, and then we'll worry about whether or not we can pay for all the launch media at the end, and then the rest of it that fills up when that is launched. Again, I've told people everything gets cashed out for that first media, and if we have anything extra, it goes into prizes and extra media for you guys that have been loyal to us, and then we'll worry about getting the structure of the company being funded, because we've been funding it for 2 years, so a little bit more is definitely not going to be like, oh, we got the bag, and it's now all ours. So we want you guys to know that that's important. So especially because it's exciting to know that every time we play a Switch 2 game, it's because the Fun Club paid for it, and you guys are going to allow us to create great, non-biased media and reviews towards that product.
I mean, it's one of those things that before we would just have to sell a bunch of our collection to get the newest console, which is fine.
Which every gamer does. That is part of the culture.
It's kind of hard, though, sometimes to know how hard you worked sometimes to find that chase item.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you kind of, like, sometimes have to undersell yourself, like, even 20%, you still feel kind of some way about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you undersell yourself in value.
Well,
hey, William, what's up, bud?
You don't understand that when you're in business that you want to always be like, can I put the personal connection to this item away in there, what we configure it into the money while I'm giving it away, but obviously you're still willing to give it away. So, like, okay, it shouldn't matter that your grandfather gave you that thing if you're still willing to sell it, and unfortunately if you're willing to sell it because of it,
he's doing well now, William.
It's just not one of those situations where, like, you're supposed to attach emotion to the object. It's supposed to be like we're using these artifacts because we'd like to play on original hardware, because I just feel for authentic reasons I don't want to ever invalidate a score I'm submitting. That's the main reason, right? Like, I want to play Donkey Kong competitively, but I don't have an official machine, so I know my scores would never be valid, so I can't even train on one. But I can do what people do when they want to do professional pinball. You can go on Pinball Arcade, and that's so pixel perfect that if you do a machine on Pinball Arcade and then actually go to the machine, you will have picked up your skill and be able to translate on the machine. So, when I'm practicing Kong, I'm doing Arcade Archives Kong, because I don't have a machine that I can get to right away that is, like, clean and, like, reliable enough.
They haven't made an arcade one-up Donkey Kong?
No, they haven't.
Nintendo hasn't co-branded with them, right?
Yeah, so thank you. If you're new to chat, I see that we got another person hanging out, and again, we don't ever provoke you if you don't want to talk. We just love hanging out with you, so thank you for showing up and showing out. As we just crested over 1,400 wins, the first team to do it. If we're touting that accomplishment, then we are the first team to do 1,400, 1,300, and 1,400. Mint Daddy was the first to do 1,200, so we tied as the second people to do that, but now we've leapfrogged the 100th accomplishment, and obviously you saw last night we hit the 100K rating as the first team, and we dubbed ourselves the first person to get the cherry, which is 100K, and the next fruit will be 300K. And we're setting those metrics as an inner game, and we're not going to show you the whole table. How about this? If you're a member of any of the membership tiers, I will snap a pic from the personal journal of the Chomp Champ and let you see where the whole road is. But only the 2 people, no, I'm sorry, only like the 10 or so people that are in there. So it won't be for everybody, but there has to be some sort of enticement for you to feel like you have getting some sort of special value. So I will go ahead and snap that pic later. Also, there's a pic of the chief that I said when I was ramped up on a tangent, and people were probably like didn't know why I was saying I know that I'm right because I was freaking out about what I was talking about. You would not have a Siberian Husky sitting next to you with that picture that I snapped, looking that chill and smiling because he knew I was vibing on such a good vibe, because Huskos don't do that.
Well, if he either leaves the room or gets angry.
So that's why I told you guys, let me snap a picture because you won't believe me. But I had him there smiling when he's like, "Yeah, boy, you're cooking." So sometimes you're cooking, and sometimes you're messing with gas. So just know which one it is.
You're funny, Dad.
Well, as somebody that's actually blown up a fireball in my face, trying to do a stunt.
You've blown up a fireball in your face?
Yeah, Greg Schneider knows all about that. One of our members, plug for one of our members of the Buy Us a Bit of Caffeine tier.
Your longtime friend.
Yeah, he knows all about that, unfortunately. We both had to really rush to explanations to our parents as to why that happened. So.
Well, can we get the story?
No. The Discord can have the story. Greg can be the one that says we can pull the trigger on the story. He has a wonderful family that I don't know needs to have that type of. It was not crazy like as in like it was dangerous. And we're both very intelligent individuals that the entire group around us should not let these two idiots that think they're so intelligent do the thing that we did. That's all we'll say.
Guess we can't really encourage anybody to.
No, you should not play with gasoline. You should not, and if you do, it should be like it with people that are like, this is my job.
I am professional gasoline player.
Well, I mean, like whatever it is that when they do effects and stuff that to do with explosions and all that.
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah. So, not good. I do not encourage it.
Why? How is he moving?
If he's still moving the controller like in the maze when it's loading it, then it lets you show your name.
Oh.
It's kind of like a fun little thing, but yeah, it's just that whole thing is a learning experience, guys. Again, it maybe is like a metaphor too for you can be around all of your friends and everybody be pretty smart. You think as a collective with whatever you're doing, and then think that you're the smartest of it, and then realize too either they were just wanting to see you mess up, or that they still just thought because you thought you're the smartest.
Never
that you knew
assume
what you were
you're
doing. Yeah, never assume you're the smartest man in the room. So
I think that's in every situation though. Like I don't know, you're not gonna be the smartest person in every situation.
Yeah.
Ultimately, like I think that I pride myself on surrounding myself with people who are either as intelligent or more intelligent than myself.
You have to. That's what iron sharpens iron. If you're around people that are just as intelligent as you, then you guys are going to stay complacent. If you have somebody in the group that provokes thought, and even if it's like in a philosophical way, like a why type of way, it is important. Like, what do you want is really important.
And when I say intelligence, guys, intelligence comes in many, many ways. If you're just because you're book smart doesn't mean you're going to be emotionally intelligent, doesn't mean you're going to be socially intelligent, doesn't mean that you're going to be like there's a lot of different ways to be intelligent. So don't think that I'm undermining any sort of intelligence over in particular, because some people are able to be there for others in situations where people who are the smartest person in the room can't help them.
William, I see that you said it's sad to see that you were mad yesterday because of a hater. We're not going to give too much time to that person, It's mainly this. As Rusty said last night, when you start to become successful at whatever you do, you have to worry about getting more exposure, so statistically you're going to have more people that are hating on you, and a lot of the time it's the same way as that childhood, somebody bullying you way. You have to just then analyze what is the problem with them, and if you don't have too much time for that,
they're not getting enough validation
somewhere. That's why I wanted to give time to his channel. I didn't shout it out, but I actually talked about all 4 of the videos on there. I looked at them and decided whether or not I was going to thumbs up or thumbs down them, and I told him why. And then I told him how to make himself better and how to make himself better as a creator. So I think that there's no way that I didn't give him any type of better heals out of it. So that there's if anything, who else, if they feel like they're trolled, still tries to make the person walk away better because I as a person couldn't think about how I made that person left that experience.
Because you have to, like you said, like you have to think, why are they doing this?
Yeah, and he wants to get better. He wants to find his niche.
It's almost like when a comedian gets heckled and they point out something about this person, which they may be overcompensating with some sort of attitude for something.
Yeah, there's comedians that'll shut down the whole fucking show if you make them feel some sort of way. And I'm not saying that he could have done that, but I was right across a metric that I put a thumbnail up for, so I was not about to do that for one person. But then again, he rattled me in a way where I needed it at that moment, and Bray knows what I'm talking about. Sometimes these big and huge moments are coming up, and you need to be rattled still right before then because you need to learn something.
You just need it right because like we hadn't really dealt with that. It's funny to say this after aside from a couple shorts that I made that are kind of satirical and opinionated, which I can understand why there could be people on some side of the fence for that, because it's funny because like satire was the last hashtag, so they couldn't really see it unless they clicked on it, so they probably didn't. But regardless of the analog pocket videos, I think it's just funny that we're at this point where we are just now dealing with someone who is hating like that. So it's like it's a lot easier to.
It's harder for me to deal with it because I'm watching this number of wins go up. I'm like, wow, it was win 3,000 almost before 1,400. So 1,300. It was almost 1,400 people. Each of these wins is 7 minutes worth of time that I played this game. So like if you look at that number and multiply it times 7 for that many minutes.
But not necessarily.
No, it's consistently. If I maximize and just do.
That's just an average though, right?
But it's almost. When we say min-max around here for this Pac-Man, I'm running the same pattern and the games are stopping because they outbounce our AI about the same time every time now. So it's really getting to the point where the average is about between 6 to 8 minutes. So like, let's just still say every match is about 7 minutes of your life. Like, you know, and then like that's how many times like it took that I was just chilling and nobody said anything disruptive, and all the people in the chat were chill and part of the fun club, and then one person that is exposed to us for the first time that just jumped in here that wasn't vibing with it took until that long. Not to mention all the other content that we've done since we started streaming, nobody's done that. So like it shook me to my core because we're so about positivity here, and unfortunately sometimes it may come across really passionately. But like, man, okay, so you're passionate about positivity and then you're just trying to wrangle it in. I know that anybody that has their voice as an influencer like that eventually has that position where they have to learn how to wrangle it in. There's no way, like I can't wait to talk to other people and be like, and they're gonna be like, yeah, dude, we felt like you too. And then they're gonna be chill about saying it, and then even that might trigger me because I'm like, how are you so confident? Because they still had to figure it out. And sometimes with mental health things, figuring it out in silence is just not my jam. So I guess for me personally, while you guys are getting to see it live, you'll at least know that I've always come from a good place. So. But besides that, we hope that you're having a good Memorial Day. You know, we're here just trying to extend some Elden Ring time for Bray. We had 2.5 hours that we banked for him, so we're going to play for a little bit. And basically, as long as the pig stays asleep, every hour that we play and how much time that we put it in is how much we're banking for him. He wants to have a nice, healthy sesh to start off, and we do not want to rush him, so we can definitely do Game of Day May after his sesh, or if we have to catch up a little bit, because the pig is active, then we will catch up with a small dose of Chomp Champs, and then we will go into Game of Day May before the Memorial Day, the Eastern Time Zone Memorial Day time ends. So hopefully you're checking out that because you never know what's coming up for Game of Day May. I guarantee you it's going to be awesome. And also Braden's Elden Ring journey today will be awesome. Awesome. I am not really going to watch a lot of it, unfortunately for him, because I want to make sure I can still experience a lot of it myself. That's another reason why it's great for people that played it obsessively to see another person play it a different way, but it's also still great for people like me that maybe want to play it, but not sure and just still enjoy it, but then also people that, you know, are inspired from the first little bit of it can then I mean, not saying don't watch his playthrough of it, but then please don't, and then don't let it spoil yourself so you can go through yourself. So there's something there for everybody with that.
Maybe you should watch some of the Dark Souls 3 stuff, because by
Yeah.
the time you play Elden
Yeah.
Ring,
Yeah.
you might forget a lot of it.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Is I feel like I had seen bosses like Soul of Cinder in like top 10 lists and stuff, but I never really put that together. It took so long by the time like that I made that connection that I had already seen that before, that it was still so brand new in the moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes I find that with like show endings or stuff like that, where I've heard, I'm familiar with how this kind of story ends.
Maybe I will do more observation of how you move, how
Yes.
you play, because honestly, I'm not trying to discredit the story, but they do really well where less is more with that story.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
I don't have to worry about a lot of story spoiling it. I can just watch how you roll around, deal with rank and file, how you use essences and the cadence of that kind of stuff.
Do you know the only difference will be that they've improved the jumping system from in Dark Souls 3 you have to hold B and then press.
Let me give you guys my background.
press right
I played
stick.
just a touch of remastered for Switch, and it was so hard I just was off put. Then Bray said, "Hey, Elden Ring," and he got me through to the bridge, and then I actually got through that pretty decently, and then I just stopped. That's
You got to the bridge.
No, I mean I'm saying you watched me do that.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's
yeah.
it. So that as far as Souls-like games, that's not Kingsfield. That's all of my experience with it. So it's one of those things that I when I say live vicariously, it's because as a observer, I'm still I'm studying it. And he doesn't know that, but that's what I'm doing, so that when I finally do, and it might be something that I start with remastered offline for nobody but myself. So I can just start to get confidence of getting my ass beat a little bit, and then I'll play the one I want to play with just the whole getting my ass beat and getting kind of used to that. And then I know that it doesn't translate tech-wise, but that whole feeling of I have to get used to the ghosts and goblins, risk reward
I feel
shit.
like Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3 are transferable, but Dark Souls 2 is completely different.
Yeah, nobody talks, when you say that, it's like when you say Dark Souls 2, it's like, ooh, what's Dark Souls 2? I know Dark Souls 1 because people talk about it. I know Dark Souls 3 because people talk about it. But
Dark
what
Souls
happened
2,
with Dark Souls 2?
They changed the way the dodge system works,
Oh
and
my
they
God.
added another stat that's called ADP, and
Why did they do that after the first one if it was successful? Why would they do that?
It was not clear at all that. Well, the reason they did that, right, was because they
Jeez.
thought they were improving on it.
Of course
because-
they did.
Well, before when your target in Dark Souls 1, when you're locked onto an enemy, and you dodge, you can only dodge backwards, left, or right if the enemy is in front of you.
Yeah.
Whereas in Dark Souls 2, they tried to make it so you could dodge in 8 directions to give you more.
Make you have more versatility to fight,
Right.
but then again,
More range.
right?
Everything.
I got you.
But it's one of those things that it's like the BO4 of Dark Souls. It's like that competitive, when people are like they've beat the shit out of everything, they go back and they want a taste of that really difficult, different experience that isn't really the traditional or expected kind of game in the series. It's the black sheep of the dark.
And
the
again,
Dark
that
Souls
it has to
lineage.
be because topically in the community, I hardly ever hear people
You
talk
hear
about
people talk about Bloodborne,
Right.
Sekiro.
Yes, I've
you
heard
hear
that,
people
yes.
talk about Dark Souls 1 and 3.
Demon Souls. I've heard Demon Souls.
Demon
Yes.
Souls, yeah.
But I don't hear people say Dark Souls 2. They're like 1 or 3 or Elden Ring. That's
Yes.
what or Bloodborne. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
So that's crazy because now you've explained why.
You even hear people talk about the newer Souls likes, like
Yes.
Lies of P.
Yes.
Or Ghost of Tsushima.
And then
or
Rise of Ronin
Rise
coming
of
out.
Ronin.
Yes.
Or
I have Lord of the Fallen that's out. That's like that.
Lords of
and
the Fallen.
So
right.
I've heard that a little bit more about that than I have Dark Souls 2.
Okay,
wow.
I've played a bit of Rise of the Ronin now. It's
Yeah.
very fun.
Good. I'm glad. That will be the Souls-like that we do together. Because I think that would be great.
As far as I know, there's 2 main protagonists.
Awesome. So that will be, we can do 2 playthroughs. I think you're right. We need a casual Souls game to play together that we can just do a little bit and then just be and cut it. Maybe 44-minute live streams at a time. So that you feel what did we do today? We messed around and did a little bit more with our character today. Like almost, because every network has half-hour shows, and we don't have a lot of that. So maybe we'll start looking at how we can do a live stream that it's going to be scheduled. It's going to be 44 minutes, 45 minutes.
Right, it's just an...
Just
I think
advanced
that'll likely start after Game of Day May, when we're looking for more stuff to start.
For sure. But I think that'd be cool if we did a casual 2-player where we
William
can,
said, I sent a test boss from my game. The first boss, he said it's not good, he's just trying to learn coding. With the graphics,
it's all placeholders, William. So,
yeah,
like don't shit on the fact that if you got something up and running that's actually a fightable thing, like you know what I mean. You're fucking creating placeholder infrastructure right now and just making sure that it's
you're
like
making
actual
the framework,
right? So
it should
and stop healing yourself where you're like it's kind of shitty. No, you're coding. I don't know how to do it at all. I'm kind of shitty for not trying and I want to. So just don't.
Because there are things that we could do and we could go
my
into those baby steps of starting to try to.
You are doing the damn thing, brother.
Right.
So don't heal yourself. We're here to heal you too. So just know that you got a framework up. Then we'll definitely take a look at it today when we can. So I appreciate that you're still putting work in on the dream there. I've always wanted to do a little bit of coding. I did some Q Basic back in the day, and I made Snake because that was the first starter course. And it's great because you make Snake, but then you're like, yeah, I didn't invent this, so you don't feel motivated because you're like, oh, I made somebody else's game. And either then you are used to writing that and okay with staring at that, or some people just can't stare at that all day. So the fact that you're spending time and effort and energy to do something that you love, and eventually whatever you think is shitty graphics is replaced with whatever cool medium that you have going on, you'll be like, man, I'm glad that I stopped that process of where I thought I was doing something good, but I was like, it's kind of shitty, like, because we do that for some reason. Like, I did this, but it's kind of crappy. Oh, look at this drawing, but it's kind of whatever. Like, no, dude, you're awesome for coding. And I inspire anybody today that if you think that you want to be a coder, there's very manageable coding programs out there that you could look into that you can just bite away at it like 20 minutes a day. So you just start stacking. So, like, what I mean? And I'm sure, William, you could probably inspire somebody else and they would tell you where you could do at least the baby steps to get where you're at. Like, not telling anybody you could teach because you're learning, but you can also, like what we do, just say, this is what we've done to get our feet wet, and if you want to then swim, then there's more information on Google and Wikipedia and all that stuff. Yeah, man, no problem. Absolutely, dude. I hope that you are motivated because, like I said, it's not everybody's thing. I wanted to be a video game programmer before anything else. I was really good at, science and logistics and stuff like that, but I was not good with math and so, physics and all that. So, like, when you have to learn the physics stuff and you have to learn how to see it in code, my mathematics was so poor that I could not achieve that. So, it was very discouraging that I never was able to achieve my dream of being a programmer or a coder at all. So, the fact that you're out there and I might be the person that's just going to be able to play your game someday when you get it out, you know what I mean? And, give it some exposure, and then we'll just deflect the haters together, because no matter what, there's going to be those, and you can just know that you got your first project to the hopper, and then you'll feel that you can move forward too. But just put your passion into it, do it just for you. And we always say move in silence, but when you're actually making big milestones like the boss and stuff, then hell yeah, we want to see it and then give you any critique that you want. But ultimately know that we'll only give you critique as gamers, and we'll always be honest. And don't ask for the critique if you don't want the honesty, but if you just stay in your own lane. But, like, you know what I mean? There's nothing I will critique you as a person getting that together in the beginning parts of it, because I can't even do it. So I usually try not to critique people on stuff I can't do at all. So my critique will be like, cool, man, and I know that you're going to get there. It'll be like also neat to see what's going on with it. But right now we're pushing Chomp Champ so I can make sure I buy Braden some time to start his Elden Ring journey. Let me go ahead and check and see if the pig has made any movement. He had 64 as his last couple digis, and he's still there. So we're buying Braden time every game that we play. We have banked him 2.5 hours, so he said that he wants to go for like a little 3-4 hours to start. So my goal is to bank him at least 4 hours, and then I will know what's going on, because he can play his 3 to 4 hours, and then we'll see if how much movement the pig has made. And if he's made little to none, then we'll go right into Game of Day May. And then if he has pressed me, I will come in here and do another pack snack to push enough time to do Game of Day May. And then that means I can do Game of Day May after the pack snack. And again, this is not work for me. I'm just trying to juggle the responsibilities while also maintaining my casual free time and showing you live that we can keep the championship of the world on Memorial Day. So, yeah. but then segueing and then closing off that part earlier, but you know what I mean, like, yeah, you should only focus on phase 1. You know what I mean? Make phase 1 the best that you can, and then maybe start to branch out what phase 2 is gonna like go into, but like as like the end of phase 1. But then don't worry about fleshing out into phase 2. I only know that from a person that's sculpting D&D. That, you know what I mean, if you get to the point where you're sculpting out the map and like then you are supposed to flesh it out, but you get to the point where you start to draw off where it could go, but then you leave that there to know that that's a placeholder. So like I was saying with the placeholder with the graphics, like obviously don't worry about what they look like more than the fact that you're getting the framework in, which is really the building blocks to the experience. So the fact that you know there's more than one phase is good, because sometimes people get to the point where they like lock it in and they're like, oh shit, I wanted more, and then like they didn't leave themselves open for it to happen, William. So look at that, and look at the fact that you're ahead of the game there when you're planning out your expansion. And sometimes when you're planning out your expansion, it can be scary, but you just have to stay the course and stay eligible, because you are doing great things, bud. And it's hard. You're putting in the work every day. So that's also what we inspire, as we put in the work every day, gobbling up these dots. We're moving towards 1 million dots. We're also inspiring people like William to continue to work towards things like he's coding a game. It's awesome. He's doing art. It's awesome. I keep talking about the fire spinner that taught me about ploy yesterday, and then we got Kaya in town, and he's doing glass blowing, and trying to get him motivated and getting his portfolio there. Then we got Brad in town doing poetry, and I'm trying to make sure that he's motivated to continue writing on his poetry. So like as I continue to touch base with you guys in town, Johnny Appleseed, Johnny Monad 777 style, I will continue to add you now into the tout list of things that I know you guys are doing around town, so that when you see me, I'll just be like, you doing your thing? And then you'll be like, yep. And if you want to talk about it, cool. But we've already touched base with some of you enough to see if you're motivated now. So just to like see if you want to talk about how you're growing the thing. Like William here is now got his game into the point where he's doing a boss fight, and he is just honing in on the first phase of it, and knowing that he wants a second phase. So like that's more about the project that he knew last time, and he's motivated now to work on it, and that's awesome. That's just, as an influencer, your job is to influence people to be the best people they can be. So William is doing that right now because he's working towards his dream of being an animator and a coder, and you today can do that with whatever you want. So if it seems like we get kind of preachy, it's hard not to feel the infectious energy of somebody like William that's like living his dream as a programmer / animator, and I've always wanted to do that. So that's like maximum right now, pow, boom. Just pick up the pen if you want to write, pick up the brush if you want to paint, pick up the phone if you want to call somebody and get your ball rolling in something else, like, because we can. And instead we can think about what we can do versus what we can't, and what we can do is just start living our dreams. But what we can't do is to keep like waiting to see if we can do it tomorrow. Like, what can you do today? William is working on his game. I'm working on the Pac-Man record for you guys. Bray's working on the Elden Ring conquest later. Some of you are working on an amazing barbecue because it's Memorial Day. Some of you are going to have an amazing fireworks display for tonight for your friends and family. Some of you are doing huge pig roasts together and getting huge parts of your family, like huge extended members of family. Because what we used to do out here in the sticks, we get a pig roast going on, and then you get like basically 40 of your family members together because all the families come together. Do people do that anymore? They call that family gatherings. We used to do that all the time during the summer. So hopefully you're doing stuff like that. And yeah, I hope that you are. And if you are just kind of just being introverted and chilling in your house and hanging out, hopefully you're doing stuff that are passionate that you can do there, in your own time, in your own lane, like William here, and just working on your game. I'm working on your guys' game, Bandai Namco Entertainment Incorporated, as we continue to wreck Chomp Champs as your leader in this game in all metrics, and that are competitive in the ranking field, besides individual divisions in other countries. So we are the Eastern Champion of the United States, the United States Champion overall, and the Global Champion. So the Triple Chomp, the Chomp Maniac, the Pac Maniac Championship, which is the Triple Crown for all those combined. So that's 4 titles, but the 5th title, the $1 Million Championship, now has the side plate that says 226,472, and that's how many pack coins we have that we cannot spend because we bought everything. So if you add that number with 93,500, which is what all this costs together, we have a whopping equity of over 1/3 of a million pack coins. So, you know, we are the $1 million pack champion because eventually that will be $1 million and we'll be the only person that has the highest metric there. So that's 5 titles. That's the 5, the big 5, the high 5. If you want to take any of those from us, then here we are. And you can go to your local realtor and pick up any type of currency code to get it on either Steam, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, or PlayStation formats. You can get this game now. You can just, you know, get in and start your climb to being the person that dethrones us. And I hope that you're encouraging yourself to do that, because in the very least you can start to get into a blossoming community before it goes past the first month, and you can know that you were part of history as everybody tries to chase us down on our quest to go from Memorial Day to July 4th and get a million instead of 1 million dots. We're going for 1 million dots now. We're almost at 800,000, but 1 million rating before 4th of July. So stick with us with that goal, but know that all of your amazing Vid-Bits content will continue. I got Dave the Diver that will, what I get so far, will be more scheduled. Again, I said I'm now move that from my casual game to bits, which means I'll just do a 45-minute playthrough of that all the way up to 5 hours, depending on what makes sense. But it's going to probably hover around the hour and 45 minutes to 2-hour episodes, which is what I've been doing. But now know that I can kind of get like vetted to that, because on my comfort game now I'm doing I started last night System Shock remake, so I will be doing that as my solo. Bray has got obviously his conquests, so now he's halfway through with so he's done with the Dark Souls 3, so now he's on the Elden Ring part of that journey. And then also he's doing his comfort game Red Dead Redemption, and you know, casually he's playing Plants vs Zombies, but I'm sure he'll throw something else in there in that rotation when it makes sense. So we have a lot for Vid-Bits programming. If you think that it's crazy or it doesn't make sense, it's been going on now for a couple weeks, so you can jump in and catch up those things in all those different playlists. This isn't something that we brought on to ourselves that's crazy, it's kind of just what we do. You can catch up with Game of Day May. That's our passion project that goes on in the month of May, where we would play a different game every day in the month of May. And this month we did the theme of indie games, so we're showing all those love. We did Jonathan Blow's Jonathan Blow's why is it escaping me? My God, Braid, and because I did Bastion earlier. It's amazing. I highly suggest you check it out as far as all the other amazing games that we did this year. And then last year's theme was beating a game every day, which we beat a game every day before the day was over. And then with the exception of a couple arcade games, we looped the screen once because we were on a really bad time and technical constraints. So that was only actually even a couple ones. Those episodes for this first season have no commentary because we didn't have that set up. But it is really just based on great gaming play and gaming acumen, and just trying to show you how well we were dedicated to the process of doing one a day every day in the month of May, with also dealing with like the stressors of everyday life, which, you know, it's kind of our gimmick, is to show you that you can have a great gaming adventure and like let life flow around you, but make sure that you try to attain a healthy balance, because when you don't, it kind of gets a little hairy, like Donkey Kong. I'd like to see after this game how much time we've banked him, because again, when we started the session he had 2.5 hours for his Elden Ring. He respectfully gave me that he wanted 3 to 4 hours for that sesh. So if like my rival doesn't move at all after his Elden Ring sesh, then we'll go right into Game of Day May. But if my rival has moved some, then I will do a pack snack and then push it back. So because a pack snack, if he's ahead, is another hour and a half. So I'll be able to buy us an hour and a half, and then we've been doing Game of Day May games for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So it's amazing how it can all work out, and then not stress anybody out, because I don't want to push the programming block for the rival, but he's hanging out and not moving right now, so I'm doing a good job banking even more of a lead. I'm gonna probably play 11 more matches, I'd say. Let's say 11 more matches. So about another hour. Let's say that this will end about, you know, in about an hour. So that way I can kind of give you like a scope of the day. Like the only, I mean, even if the caveat is that he's moving, I hopefully he won't start moving until the end. And again, it'll give him like a 4-hour window, and then he can get his teeth sunk into it and not feel like that he doesn't have the momentum into tomorrow. So. Guys, I'm scared to do the math. I mean, I just publicly declared that I'm going to get a 1 million rating before 4th of July, and I know it's possible. But I haven't, like, I wouldn't have touted it if I didn't, like, at first I thought I could do, like, the Mitchell score, like, 1,333,000. It's just not possible by the 4th of July. I can definitely make sure that happens before the end of July. But, like, fuck, if, like, hitting 1 million by then, I mean, it's possible. And I'm the only person that can do it based on pace. So that's also the thing. Reason why I was willing to say it is because nobody else on pace can catch up to that now. I'm the only person that can do it, like mathematically. No, Pig can. Pig can. I mean, I'm challenging you, Pig. Like I've challenged you to get to 1 million points before me, 1 million rating before me, and you're the only other person that can possibly do it. Kofi could maybe do it. That's why, like, I guess I didn't quantify why I put this pressure on myself and why I've been freaking out so much in my personal life. Like, I'm trying to do something that's going to put this game at least on the map as far as showing the love that somebody has for Pac-Man. And if I do that in the very least, that's great. But I've inspired so many people just walking around town just chilling, like, before I even talk about Pac-Man now. So, like, to be able to possibly do that would be fucking amazing. Like, but it is going to be a lot of pressure, and it's going to be working this as a job, and I'm going to need a lot of support, guys. Like, so I don't know how to go about doing that. Like, you know, I wish I could just reach out to those guys in Bandai. I mean, I already have because we've applied for sponsorship, but I want to let them know, like, hey, if you guys want to hook me up with when I'm trying to publicly do this, like, I'm the only person right now that's mathematically possible that can do it. And, like, I don't know how much they care about it, but I feel like I need to get on the horn with them in the next day or so and let them know, because what's the date today? What's today? The 27th. So 4 days in that, all of June, and then a couple days in July. And then I basically have to then schedule out how much I would have to get per day and do that every day and then live my life around it, which is totally possible. And then we can get 1 million points, 1 million rating. This rating would say 1 million. And 1 million. Not just that 100,000, but 1 million. And I'm motivating myself to do it, but nobody else can do that. Nobody else can. Kofi can't catch up to that, and the only person that possibly can, Kofi can't catch up. Maybe. The race would be if Kofi could come in and do it. And if they're a professional gamer and they're motivated enough, they can do it. Because I think that they're a professional Katamari Damacy like player. Pig could do it if he caught wind of it, and it would be an amazing chase. That would be an endurance chase. But we are on pace to do it already. We would just have to ramp up the game in a way where we play it healthily and happily and steadily for 40-something days. You see what we've done in 2 weeks. We hit 100,000, and we didn't play it every day all day. We played it, you know, it got to the point where we're playing it more. So it's going to be barely close. But I think we can do it, guys. I think we can. I think if anything else, we should give it our all and know that the motivation that we're trying to do it by that metric will make it so that people can hopefully build a website and, like, we can start, like, see how many I have to go and then, like, know that, you know, life will flow around it, and I'll take the L if I have to based on that. But if it doesn't, in a way that is quantifiable, it's good to have the goals, and it'd be great to say by July 4th that we have 1 million points or 1 million rating. And I mean, I just don't see anybody ever catching up, so let's just go for it, and it'll be our little secret, you know. Like right now, the first thing was the cherry, which is 100,000 rating. I'm the only person that has the cherry next to my name because I'm trying to tout that means 100,000 rating, like other people that are throwing it on there just because they like cherries. So mine means that I get 100,000 rating, and I'm the only person in the world that's got that. So like we're trying to we're quantifying games within games to give us the motivation to keep wrecking the competition, number one, but then also it's like a publicity stunt so that Bandai Namco like eventually will take notice of what we're doing for their game, because their sales are going to grow when people catch wind. But there's this guy that's YouTube content streamer, part of the Vid-Bits, that just have streamed every bit of this game while talking smack to this degree. Eventually people are going to want to shut me up, and because I'm considering myself like the Roman Reigns of this bitch, and like I already had somebody yell at me about talking too much. I thought, I'll just lean into this shit for Chomp champs. But it's going to be dialed in when you watch other Vid-Bits programming. So, you know, the equivocal exchanges, I've been also using my platform as the #1 person in the world at this game to respectfully show the honor of these people that are in the top 20 of the game as well when they've not paid me. None of them have contacted me. None of them have let me know whether or not it's okay. But I've just assumed because they're on the public leaderboard at the top of the world that they really are trying to get attention somewhere. So then they're getting it, whether or not they, you know, care or not. They're going to get it here at Chomp Champs, and trying to make sure people feel that their gaming accomplishments are validated, because there's a lot of time being put into these things underneath, you know, behind closed doors and in caves and man caves and bat caves and all that shit. And it's about time that those gamers get the respect that they deserve, because they're using their life force to try to get a meaningful number up there that nobody can see but them, you know? Them and the couple people that are playing that game. So why not? Why not be that guy? For Phil, like, why not be the voice of the voiceless? Yeah, he's polarizing, but I'm, as far as the Vid-Bits go, and the two of me and Braden, I'm more polarizing than him, because Braden is very more able to dial it back in. But man, I would not fucking provoke that kid. It's like pulling a tiger's tail. He's very passionate about the industry, and just like me, sometimes he speaks without tact because he doesn't know how to wrangle it in, because when people keep making shitty comments and videos about shitty things that are going to affect the industry negatively, it affects people that are passionate about it, especially when we vet said articles for information and just have to see the negativity all the time, a la this game about Pac-Man 99 and all. I just don't give a shit. I'm growing this brand. I'm helping grow the Vid-Bits as a co-owner, but I'm also helping grow awareness about Pac-Man and how awesome this game is, one day at a time. Every time I chomp, every time I'm still in the lead, every time I taunt it, and every time I now give myself almost unachievable odds of stuff like hit 1 million points before July 4th. So that's the declaration on Memorial Day from Brian from the Vid-Bits, aka Pops Plays, aka Johnny Monad 777 from Pops Plays. We're just going to be wrecking this hall still, giving you advice about life as you want to hear it, or as unfortunately we won't shut up about what we're learning at the time or whatever. But I'm trying to transmute that energy into talking about people in my community, all the awesome things that they're doing, you know, like Seth is doing in the area of electronics. He's just basically being the one that kind of is like the silent guardian of everything and like just flowing with the energy, but like as that stoic statue figure, Seth, like you still are there as a beacon of inspiration for people to sometimes, in like my case, just keep my fucking mouth shut and just like only say like the silent Bob-esques, like nuggets of truth. So, you know, I've definitely found the console command and I've accessed it, and it's allowing us to access the mothership, so to speak. Again, we're going to the matches will be 14-20 when we stop this session. Then we'll look and see how far we are ahead and do the math. You do the math. Yeah, we'll do the math, and we'll be able to see exactly how far in real time we are by our rivals. So on this Memorial Day, you'll know what the countdown time is. That will unfortunately make it so the next thing that we do probably ends shorter, but because it's a conquest thing, I'm going to make sure to pad that out as long as I can, and Bray respectfully and humbly requested about 3 or 4 hours, so I'm just going to try to give him as much of that buffer as possible while MintDaddyPig, my rival, is sleeping, and he is still sleeping. So as we continue to get that buffer up, I'm going to play until that happens, and then I will cut the session short, because I wanted to get a good lengthy one for Memorial Day, but really it's about just kind of sending on the message of where we're going with Chomp Champs going forward, about the gamers, esports, about making sure that we can set history with Pac-Man, using that to inspire people, and then using that to also raise awareness about our brand. So there you go. Also, again, it's not sponsored by Bandai Namco Entertainment Incorporated, but we are actively seeking that through public appeal, and we have sent the paperwork in too. We're just waiting to hear back from them. So, oh man, I wish I was out barbecuing or something, and instead I'm waiting for it to dry out enough out there for me to do the lawn while Braden's doing Elden Ring. It's also better for me to push it later, because if it's dry outside, then the grass will dry out faster, but I think it's just going to be moist as shit, and it's just going to be difficult to deal with. But like this maze, this Pac-Man maze and stuff, it's really cool to know that I can go outside and compartmentalize, my yard, and be able to chomp through it like this, and be able to feel like, therapeutic to get away from everything. My only regret is that I can't get my earphones to be loud enough to hear over the sound of the lawnmower, so, I digress. I love that they use cyan as one of the modifiers, because it's one of my favorite colors, so, to see that is pretty sweet as I chomp them. As I double chomp them. All that shit and all that sexy maneuvering for that, man. I was just swiveling around there, and it was just clean spacing, and then that shit. So just know that you have to be, I know I was paying attention too, but he's red, so because of the background being red, he kind of blended in together for me when it was red. The one first I don't know if I'll get is the world's first platinum for this. I hope so, because there's you have to hit the 1,000,000 dots or whatever. So yeah. I'm not gonna be mad if we don't. And always, just because I'm seeing him pace me with wins, when we fight against each other head to head, it does not mean that he is. He could be just getting wins, and then just to keep pace with me with wins, and then not getting high quality wins, and then we are separating further and stuff. But then sometimes he's not. He is getting 75 points per win. Guys, I can't. There's no way I mathematically can hit 1 million by the 4th. I don't know why I was off a little bit with the math, and I can't. But we can realistically and healthily hit 500,000 points. We can realistically and healthily hit 500,000 points by the 4th of July. So obviously I was shooting for the moon, and I'll land on the roof here. Let's go ahead and dial it back before I get upset about it, because I just was doing the math and I'm just trying to plug in the numbers, because that way I will not have to play. I would have to have played 18-hour days, 20-hour days to even be in the conversation of getting close to another good metric like a 700,000. So let's just say we're going to hit 500,000 points by the 4th of July. And then we'll know when we're going to hit 1 million points after that. But 500,000 points will be very impressive. Because I just did the math. If I did 20-hour days, I still would only be at about 700,000. And that's min-maxing my days. That's 20-hour days and 4 hours to sleep. But also doing all of my faculties through the course of play. And there's just too many random things that could happen in life. So I still, to shoot for insurmountable odds, it made more sense to me to be really intensively trying, because that's part of the process for all this, is I'm just making these crazy goals. So how about this? Your reigning, defending, undefeated champion of Pac-Man Mega Tunnel Battle Chomp Champs is going to make a public declaration that before anybody else can, we will hit 500,000 points. So I'm sorry I said 1 million. I don't know why I was looking at it thinking, okay, I could do some days this and this. Like, I've already done the math, and no, that would be horrible. I could work 24 hours. I could do 24-hour days for the next 37 days, and it would not happen mathematically by about like a couple games. So it was. I don't know why I was thinking that. Oh yeah, mathematically, no, I would need no sleep. So there's still other Vid-Bits content and stuff to go and all of that. So to consider. So we're gonna say the Vid-Bits will have 500,000 rating, or 500,000 points, by 4th of July. And we'll be celebrating that metric together, and it'll be great. I feel like that's very attainable. And it's really maybe an allegory for learning how to set crazy goals for yourself, but then wrangle them in reasonably. So to play 24 hours a day for the next 38 days, that would net me 1 million points. But in order to play healthily, and considering what we have now, we can easily hit 500,000 points by 4th of July as the goal, and we'll be the only person to do it. And we'll be so far ahead that people will start to slow down trying to catch us up and stay in their own lane, and that way we can get our programming block more focused towards, with the Chomp Champ stuff, like I said, giving glory to the bronze and the silver and the gold tier. I cannot wait to see those people get up and be in the conversation. So in order for us to have time to give those people in the shows, we have to be able to be so far ahead that we're not worried about something. Like when somebody set the old school arcade records and then they just don't work on them anymore because nobody can get that skill. I'm not saying that we're there, but until you guys get infectiously wanting to replace these bots, with yourselves to take us down, that's where we're at with it, guys. So again, the last thing, our last declaration for Memorial Day is, besides we're going to end on the 1,420th match, is we are going to be the first people, when you see this rating that says 102,061, that is going to say 500,000 between now and Memorial Day. So that's 37 days, guys. So if you're following the journey that is now where my conquest has gone, is to 500,000 points by the 4th of July, so that I can, and we're going to celebrate with a video of us and the Chief, and we're going to have sparklers. It's going to be cute. He'll have a little party hat on, and it'll be gloriously superb. So I'm going to step off mic for a little bit, so I have a business meeting to talk to, but I'm still playing through 5 more matches, so we're going to end on 14-20. We're going to see how far the pig is behind. And what we're doing, again, if you're checking out with Chomp Champs, is we're buying Braden time for his start of the other half of his conquest, which is an Elden Ring, into Elden Ring DLC. So stick around, I'll be right back. Alright, that was a very productive meeting. Always love to hear that kind of stuff. So we'll do 4 more matches. We'll do the math. You do the math. Yes, we'll do the math and we'll let you know how far behind the pig is, and then Braden will get ready and get that title card slotted up and go right into the other half of his conquest, which is getting through to get to that DLC that everybody's going to be hopping into at the end of June. So look forward to that. But besides that, I hope you're having a wonderful Memorial Day. We are definitely doing that here at the Vid-Bits lab. Yep, the view is walls because the lab is deep down underground, and we're trying to keep ourselves productive and on the grind to produce Vid-Bits TV for you every day. Eventually, after Game of Day May, though, when the stream settles, there will be a day off where you won't see like the normal. You'll definitely see Chomp Champs because that has to happen. That's like our sports center, so you'll see that, but you won't see necessarily all the other stuff that we're offering. Like Game of Day May won't be May, so you won't be seeing that. You won't see like my comfort game or Braden's comfort game or his conquest that day, unless he's actually his conquest you'll see that day because he's going on that. So on that day, what you would see all the rest of the content block, you'll just see Chomp Champs and Bray's conquest, because Chomp Champs actually is still an ongoing conquest to be number 1, because just because you're number 1, you have to put in the work to stay number 1. So until that gets completely moved over to Pop's Plays, and then you're seeing this just as an update on the Vid-Bits channel, just know that it's just because we're trying to keep getting the legs behind the other one without growing it improperly. It's just a little bit technical, so there's that. So yeah, but you guys should be outside firing up the grill, throwing some frisbee in if you can, flipping your chifos or whatever type of support animal you have or whatever, spending some good time with your family and stuff. And I know that I love my family very much and would not be where I am without them, so I appreciate you guys. And yep, Pop's gonna be a Pop to another beautiful baby girl. So congratulations, Van and John. It's awesome, and I know that folks will be totally happy to have a little sister, because she will be a great big sister. Just think that that's what the Barbie dolls have been for, is just to train her how to do what you did with Gray and just make him your little put-upon assistant. I'm just kidding. That's beautiful. I hope it dries out a little bit here where I'm at, because I need to do some lawn work, some landscaping. I really do like getting my hands dirty with that kind of stuff because it keeps me grounded, and it really makes it so that you can get some energy out. We can't always get our energy out packing around in the halls. It's got to be one of those situations where you have to find a way to break the monotony in certain situations. Again, this is not monotony in a different way, but like I'm trying to stay number 1, so that can be boring to other people. I've quantified it in the way of a game. I'm looking for the key of the twilight, so to speak. That's the key in this game, so I'm trying to eat the key, and so I've made it worth a specific amount of points, and so only until I get that rating high enough where those points appear. So when I got 100,000 rating or 100,000 points, it made the cherry appear, so we took the cherry and we're the first team to do it, and until 300,000 points appear, we will not see the next prize. So again, we've not said what that prize is. If you can speculate in the comments, we will not confirm nor deny it, but it's the game that until we hit the 300,000 point metric and adorn that to our profile picture, you can only speculate what that is. But again, with it being 100,000 points being the cherry, and this is influenced by classic Pac-Man, you can only guess what 300,000 points actually means for us and what we're going for here, with the key being the ultimate prize. And ultimately we cannot adorn that here because there is no profile thing for the key, but maybe through an update there will be, and if that case happens, then we'll have that target to be able to do. But right now the highest thing we can get is melon, which again, we're not trying to put point qualifications on there. You can kind of do your own math. You do the math. No, you can do it. You can do that math and to know where we're going for it. And again, trying to set attainable yet inspirational goals for people that are still playing this game and thinking, what can you do when you're number 1? Well, you can go for these crazy metrics that I'm setting, and you can say that you too are the Pack Maniac champion, the Triple Pack, the Pac-Man champion, and then also the $1 Million champion, Pack Championship, but with the metric of being the Eastern United States, Global, and Triple Crown, having those three married to be the fourth title, and then the fifth being the one with the most currency, the Scrooge McDuckian style, $1 Million Mantev DiBiase-esque $1 Million Pack Championship. So we have 5 belts, Ultimo Dragon, or Kenny the Belt Collector. And if you want to come after us, then just go to the store today and get you a card to put on this, or just if you have currency, just ask your parents first, of course, for their permission, and be like, Mom, I want to go out there and try to chase down Johnny Monad 777, aka Pops Plays, aka Brian from the Vid-Bits, as the Vid-Bits are wrecking and ruling here in the land of Pac. So I really encourage you to do your best in whatever you're doing today. So if that's do this, then do it. But also, if not, make sure that just take baby steps towards attainable goals, and you will have so much fun when you realize that you can live your dreams too. So it's not all just about Pac-Man, but it can definitely be inspirational enough. So it is all about Pac-Man to some people. That's what big and huge means. To some people it's big, to some people it's huge, to some people it's big and huge. But it doesn't mean that it's not meaningful to me, and it doesn't mean that it should be less meaningful for you, just as long as you are not trying to hurt my flow. Because God knows the Vid-Bits are not trying to mess yours up, as we are 3 matches away from the end of this episode of Chomp Champs. We are going to show you the gap that we have created between us and our rival here on Memorial Day, and if you haven't been tuning in, we are setting up to hand this over to Bray for his episode of his conquest, which is he started Dark Souls 3, completed that in the DLC, and then now it's getting the Elden Ring and going to go towards, so he can sync it up with the DLC releasing at the end of June. And yes, we know that Dark Souls 3 does not continue the story of that, but he was trying to pick the game that he thought would help him getting fighting trim, and then make it marry up with that, because at the end of the day, when we are trying to compete in an event in whatever, you try to find the things that would train you up in those areas that would make you effective. So if you're in a Twitch-based reaction game where you have to know how to be more responsive, then it's better to play the games that are handling that way up into it. It does not mean that you had to play Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3 all the way through to play Elden Ring. It means that if you found the Souls game that was the most that helped with adaptability, that it seems that it falls more in line of the gameplay flow of Elden Ring, and you know that DLC is going to be more of that, then you should definitely pick the title up that's going to help you stay with the rust knocked off. But if you're into Souls games in general and you play them all, then you're already ready for it. But if you've been rusty because you've been playing other titles, it's great to be in a situation where you can learn something that he does to make it so when you're like, wow, why are you so effective at that boss already? And it's just like, well, he's got momentum of several months by the time that he gets to the end of June. That was why the conquest in this situation is meaningful, because I guess that's the whole thing. We had to quantify meaning for conquest to be important. So my meaning was I wanted to be number 1. His meaning is to be the best performer for you, and the best producer for you for an experience that may or may not influence whether or not you purchase a product. And that's why we are different here, a little bit different, because we take pride as producers of actuating game content seriously instead of just dorking around. And when we're playing it, and if we are doing that, or we get too distracted, then we do, instead of live cut it, we just say, hey, look, we're going to expand this and give this more of a fleshed out feel later. Like you can see that with Stray, and then I also felt like that last night with content warning, and knew that that was something I was going to narrate, like a Game of Day May thing. I was going to launch it in the process of Game of Day May to get awareness to it, but I wanted to make sure I took that off on my own, and was finding ways to pace it and make it an experience where I could do a little bit more footwork of how to produce that in a way that it was better for everybody, including the people at Prime Matter, to get the right eyes on that. So that's important, and I guess at the end of the day, that's just letting you guys know that you have a responsibility as a video game content creator to try to produce things in a way where it's appealing, or at least non-biased. So that means don't go into these experiences with anything other than knowing that at the end of the day it's how you feel about it. But if you produce gameplay or actuate gameplay in a way where it's non-favorable and then blame the product, that's part of the fucking problem of the culture, so don't do that. We're allowed to openly discuss how things are and the flow of how things are and how they can be improved, because that makes sense. Because if you don't look at your growth and you don't improve from it, that's why we don't take any of our old content down. But at the end of the day, if you're actuating in a way where it's because you're having a bad day and you're letting shit roll downhill and it's the chain screaming and you're taking out on the way that you're actuating a game because you're not in the right mind frame to play it, unfortunately you could be doing the person that spent all of their time in this small publisher, or in this case when we have the responsibility with indie studios, it's a mighty responsibility to be not crippling the sales or the exposure of something that's already trying to get watered and cultivated, as far as like how that the desire, the seed of the desire was planted. So just figured I'd let you know that. It just makes me sad. We have like a higher example with like the recent studio closures, so I mean we'll just say that. $1 million points. Yeah, I did. That's the one time I've done the math bad. So if you are in the part of the video where you heard me say 1 million by 4th of July, I was way off. I mean, that's 1 million if I would have done everything every day, and I still would have not made it by like 1,000. I would have had to play more today than I know that I can. Like, I was including today, so it was 38 days. That was 1 million points. I was so excited. But like, yeah, I'm gonna be healthy about it, so it's 500,000 points by 4th of July, which is still an amazing metric, and we will definitely do that and be inspirational to some people, because for us just to hit a fifth of that in 18 days, we're gonna have to be crazy, even more of a Pac-maniac by then on this pace to do that. So know that you know, that coming is just us just trying to show dedication and love for the game, and then for Pac-Man, and also to just cement ourselves in that history. And then we know that we'll be so far ahead of anybody else that they're not going to even try for that at that pace, and that way we can focus on emceeing the show. And that's really, it's really me investing in the foundation of the Chomp Champ show, and being able to focus more on being number one, to have like that spotlight to be the MC, but also the weight of when somebody does finally come up and are a real contender, it's going to be amazing, and people are going to be like, wow, who's going to dethrone him? And like, if not, that's fine, but like, if you don't look at this as like a wrestling event or something, and you're trying to promote it like, you know, like a Don King did, or like a PT Barnum, like, that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to like create like this crazy narrative besides being the champion, like, oh yeah, 500,000 points by 4th of July. Yeah, if life hits me too much, then it's not going to happen, but it's very reasonable. That's me only doing just like 14-hour days. So like, I can do other things. I can do Vid-Bits stuff. I can go out and ride my bike, take a bath, take all the things that are possible, but still do this. But if I was going to do something crazy, like, I thought, okay, maybe 777,000, but that's still me. I could do that if I pulled 20. I would have to push 21-hour days for the next 37 days, and I can't do that. I just can't. Like, can't do it. So like, also I'm gonna have to have a good support system in play, that people can be in chat more often and help me and jump off points and talk about stuff. And then also just a bunch of stuff that I'm second screening at other times, where you guys will know that I'm second screening something, and we can maybe get in a Discord and we can like talk about a movie that I'm second screening to keep me from, you know, being bored or something. Because I'm not saying it'll get boring, but it'll definitely get to the point where it feels like a bit of a job, because I'm trying to hit the metric by the date. So if you're just tuning in, man, we're putting the pressure on ourselves to hit 500,000 rating by 4th of July, and we just now started hitting 100,000 on Memorial Day here, and we are the leader in the game as far as that goes by just a couple thousand points. So we have some competition. Obviously 500,000's better because it's fair. That's another reason why I'll do it, because 500,000 means that Kofi could do some things with their schedule if they knew that it was a stunt, and then they could go for it, and it's possible. 500,000 is 400,000 from here, so It's not impossible to get it in an unreasonable time, and I'll do the math and show you guys the math on all of it too, is how I've quantified it. So again, we're going for 500,000 rating by 4th of July. That's 37 days after today, and that's a crazy goal, guys, but we're going to keep stretching goals here. We are your Pac champ, your Chomp champion, the Chomp champ. We have the cherry adorned to our championship belt, which means we hit the 100,000 metric, and the next that will be replaced by the next token gesture at 300,000 rating, on our way to the 500,000 mark by 4th of July. So $500,000 points, man, in 37 days. So we already have 100,000 of it, but it took like 18 days. No, Chief, you cannot have those dumplings. What are you doing, Chief? What are you doing? Tell me. Tell the people how you're doing. Say hi. Say hi. Tell them, Chief. Chief, what are you doing? Don't knock over my water bottle. Why do you keep doing that? There's so much water on the floor. He just wants the food. Come here and give me key. What? Tell me. Speak. Speak. Chief. Speak. He don't want to speak. He being camera shy. Why'd I do that? That was so dumb. That was hilarious. Alright. Awesome. So the pig did not move any during the end of that. So that's good. Let's go ahead and do the math. You do the math. Yes, I'm doing the math. So 102, 416 minus 98,397 is 4,019. 4,019 divided by 75 is 58 games. So we'll say 54 games to take the lead. No, 53 games to get on the door. So we'll say 53. 53. No, yeah, 53 games to get to the door. So 53 divided by 12. So we bought him another 2 hours. because we had 2 hours and 15 minutes ping. So he now has 4 hours, almost 4 hours and 20 something minutes. So that's how far the pig's ahead. So the pig won't be active. Let me make sure I put that on my timer. So 20 minutes, so 4, so 7 p.m. EST is when I will be back to check. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my timer. We'll do 4:24. That's what it is. .34. Yeah, okay. Alright guys, so there you go, 7 p.m. EST, and we also have set the metric that 37 days to hit 500,000 rating. That's giving me, giving Mint Daddy, paring it down makes it so Kofi could be competitive if we can get word to him. Mint is my main rival to do it, so he could definitely be in the conversation. And that makes it so we're trying to get 400,000 rating in 37 days, and it definitely makes it so I can only have to play like 10-hour days. So I can compartmentalize it in a way where it's much more meaningful, and then it's gonna be, I can actually start. I'm encouraging you guys, especially in the Discord, start sending topics. I'm gonna find a way to get a topic thing. I'm gonna find a way to, in the Discord, say when I'm watching a movie and I'm gonna say I'm moving in silence, we can watch the same movie together and then not get flagged about it, so we can talk about it, and we'll find ways to make this fun over the next 8 weeks. It's gonna be an interesting journey. You guys are gonna help me wrangle it in, but we're gonna make history with 500,000 rating by 4th of July, and we're gonna coast in right around then. And it's gonna be fun, and we're gonna do it with the Fun Club, man. So I hope that you're enjoying it. The rival again, 7 p.m. EST is when I have to check on him. If he min-maxed right now until then, he would be at my door at 7 p.m. EST. So it's not gonna affect Braden's Dark Souls, or I'm sorry, Elden Ring, because he's got a good 4 hours. And then if he's on my door, then we'll have to do a pack snack. But if not, we'll go right into the game of day, May. And I'll give you a hint. People say it's like it's Minecraft-esque. It's not. It's awesome, and you're gonna love it, and I love it too. And it's another one of those experiences where when your child says play something, it's something that you like because I observe what you like to play. Like Toby's Undertale, and I waited way too long. Don't sleep on this game when we show you tonight. So, and definitely you'll be like, I see it all the time. Yeah, but do you play it? Do you try it? Do you give your kid a chance? Or you just look at it like what he says is white noise.
This game is. I'll give you another hint. This game is at one of the most reasonable, consistent prices on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation.
And if your friends like it, you can buy a bundle, so you can gift it to your friends, so they don't. If they like it, then maybe they'll pay you back. But if not, at least you know that they had nothing to lose, and then they're just the ones that just didn't vibe with it, and it was on your dime. So
this is another thing that if you guys really vibe with this game, we can totally play it consistently as a community.
Yep. And you won't ever get honed in as being a blank this channel. So I've never heard of somebody saying you're a this channel. That probably exists because everybody has their niche, but that's all the hints that you're gonna get. This is Brian and Brazen here, so it's the Vid-Bits from this episode of Chomp Champ. So stick around for Braden continuing. Now I'd say if it's a save file, he's at 50% because he did the Dark Souls 3 and the DLC for Dark Souls 3. So now he's gonna start the journey at Elden Ring, so you can look over the horizons and see them burning bright and get ready to jump in that with him shortly from the Vid-Bits. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace. You're still here because you heard the last song. It wasn't that long, and now you're sad that there's not another one. But here's one, and it's not as fun. But still wait around.